As most of you know who regularly watch my channel, you would have realized that I bought this Nikon Z 180-600mm f5.6-6.3 VR lens back in September 2023. But if you've ordered this lens or own this lens, then I suggest you get this one thing for it. Find out what it is next. I noticed recently while I was scrolling through my Instagram feed that the team at Viltrox released a new range of Pro Series ultra-thin MCUV protection filters. They come in a range of sizes from 49mm to 95mm. 95mm, that just happens to be the filter thread size for this lens. So the team at Viltrox very kindly sent me out one of their UV filters to try out. Now these filters are relatively inexpensive, but I think it's worth spending that tiny bit of money to protect your valuable lens investment. And trust me, as one speaking from experience here, a UV filter has saved my bacon more than once. Perfect example of this was when I was in Leamington National Park here in Australia doing some bird photography with my Nikon D850 and 80-400mm lens. So the story goes, I had the lens hood on and I was in dense forest. I remember at one stage I was chasing after this one particular bird and I had my camera hanging down by my side via the shoulder strap. And when I eventually caught up to this bird, I had to back up a little bit. And as I backed up into this brush area, this stick or branch went straight up into my lens, past the lens hood, and scratched and slightly cracked the UV filter I had on. Now luckily I was able to just remove that UV filter and continue on with my photography for the rest of the day, only I was being extra careful. And the next day I bought a brand new UV filter for that lens. But it did save me in the fact that it could have done some real serious damage to the front of that lens. It may have got written off, or I could have had to have sent it away and I would have lost time with the lens and it would have cost me a lot of money in repairs. I did this very quick test with Yoda in the garden to see if I could notice any sort of vignetting at the lens's widest focal length at 180mm, or to see if there was any sort of image quality difference using the Viltrox UV filter. And happy to report I didn't get any sort of vignetting at 180mm, but I did notice there was ever so slightly this better image quality with the filter on compared to it off in both stills and video. And I guess that's the UV element doing its job within the filter. You can see here when I first open the filter, it does make that slightest little bit of difference between my hand being away from the filter and underneath the filter. The Nikon Z 180-600mm f5.6-6.3 VR lens has proven to be a very popular seller with limited stocks right around the globe. And I do know a lot of you out there who have messaged me and are still waiting on your lens to turn up, but it hasn't because of delays in production or delivery. But I've got my fingers crossed for you guys and I really hope you get your lenses soon. But I couldn't think of anything worse than for those that say have ordered this lens and they've waited so long for it and you take it out and say within a week, you scratch the front of it or you damage the front of it. And having that UV filter is kind of like having an insurance policy. I'd rather have that UV filter because imagine getting this lens and then all of a sudden you've got to either write it off and you've got to go and order a brand new lens, or you've had to send it away to get repaired and you've got more downtime while it's away getting all those repairs. So yeah, I actually think it's worth getting this Viltrox UV Pro filter, not just for this lens, but any new lens, because trust me, it will save you eventually a lot of heartache and importantly, a lot of money. If you need any more information on these filters, I've left you a link in the video description box below. Never stop creating. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.